Well, hello there. This is sort of an extra video for you. After my video on some kids' books I liked, I was swamped, inundated, snowed under by viewer questions. Meaning, basically asked myself. The book in question was Pumpkin Moonshine by Tasha Tudor. Pumpkin moonshine is a very old-timey term for a jack-o'-lantern, and the question was raised, what's the deal with jack-o'-lanterns? Where the heck do they come from? And why do we carve up pumpkins every year, and so on? Well, that's a good question. We see jack-o'-lanterns every Halloween. Kids love to carve pumpkins and all of that. Well, I love them too. I've only got this fake one here, but I used to love picking out just the right pumpkin and designing the face and carving it. I always made a mess and got the pumpkin guts all in my fur and everything. But I loved making jack-o'-lanterns anyway. I haven't made jack-o'-lanterns in years, though, because I live in an apartment and I don't have a front porch or anywhere like that to display it. But where did jack-o'-lanterns come from? What's the deal, anyway? Well, the Barkster has got the answers you crave, so let's get into it. Jack-o'-lanterns have their origin in olden times, back in Norway and England and Ireland, in the 17th century, or even before then. But they didn't make them out of pumpkins like we do. No, because the pumpkin came over from the New World and wasn't fully established in a lot of European gardens yet. Instead, they used turnips. The idea was the same, though. They'd take a big turnip, hollow it out, carve a face into it, and put a candle inside. Now, why did they do this? Was it for fun like we do nowadays? No, they used these turnip lanterns to ward off ghosts and witches and vampires. And when do we think of those sort of things today? That's right, Halloween. So this tradition came to America, and we started using pumpkins to make the lanterns instead of turnips because they were bigger, easier to work with, and plentiful. A little harder to carry around, though. So there you are. That's where jack-o'-lanterns come from. Now, the name jack-o'-lantern, how did we get that? Well, there's a great legend about that, and it goes like this. There used to be this guy in olden times named Stingy Jack. He was lazy and crooked, a thief and a sly and clever con man who loved tricking people and stealing from them. He even tricked the devil a few times. Like one day, he spied the devil up in an apple tree, probably stealing apples. Anyway, he rushed over to the tree and carved a cross in the trunk so the devil couldn't climb down. He was stuck up a tree. Another time, the townspeople were chasing Jack and were going to beat him up for stealing from them when he saw the devil. Jack asked the devil for help, and the devil just laughed and said, "No way." Then Jack said, "These people are all good churchgoers. What if I could help you cause rancor among them?" And the devil liked that idea and said, Yes, tell me more." Jack said if the devil turned himself into a coin, because the devil could change his shape, Jack would use the coin to pay for all the stuff he stole and trouble he had caused. Then he said the devil could just disappear. And then the people would wonder what happened to the money and start suspecting each other of stealing it and start arguing and fighting amongst themselves. The devil liked that idea, so he agreed and changed himself into a silver coin and leapt into Jack's purse, his wallet. But Jack had hidden a crucifix in his wallet, and the devil lost all of his power and was trapped. Jack only agreed to let him go if the devil would, number 1, get him out of the jam he was in, and number 2, promise to never take his soul. Because, let's face it, nobody wants to go to hell, not even those guys making death metal. So the devil agreed. Well, then one day, Jack died. His soul went up to heaven, but St. Peter laughed at him and said, "No way. You were too evil in life, and we don't want you up here. You can't come into heaven." Then he literally told Jack to go to hell. Jack said, "Well, I guess I better." And he went down to hell. He shows up at the gates of hell, which I sort of picture as looking kind of like the Black Gate of Mordor and manned by some little devil minion dudes. Anyway, one asks Jack what he wants, and he tells him he couldn't get into heaven, so he has to come to hell. They decide to call the boss.
Hey, Mr. Satan, there's a dude out here named Jack, and he wants to come in, but he's not on the list. Should we let him in?
And the devil says, "No way. No way. After all the tricks he's played on me, I don't want that guy in here causing trouble. Besides, I promised not to take his soul." But Jack was all sad and crying and stuff and said, "Oh, it's so dark out here. How will I see to find my way?" And so the devil tossed him a coal from the fires of hell and told him to get bent. Then Jack hollowed out a turnip he happened to have with him and placed the coal inside and uses it to see by as he wanders between the realms of heaven and hell for all eternity. So if you saw a light bobbing about in a marsh, it might be swamp gas or a will-o-the-wisp or a corpse light, or it could be the light from Jack's lantern. He became known as Jack of the Lantern or Jack-o'-lantern, which is what we call carved pumpkins today. So there you go. That's what jack-o'-lanterns are all about. Now I'll be back with a new video for you next time as Howl-O-Ween continues.